The Great Divide, a tale of Trump, Musk, and a fractured vision for America. Prologue, the alliance that shook the world in the waning days of 2024, the air in Washington, D.C., buzzed with an electric tension. Donald J. Trump, newly re-elected as the 47th President of the United States, strode into the White House with a swagger that echoed his first term. By his side, an unlikely ally, Elon Musk, the enigmatic billionaire whose empire spanned electric cars, space exploration, and artificial intelligence. Their partnership, forged in the crucible of a contentious election, promised to reshape America. Musk, with his vast wealth and influence, had poured nearly $300 million into Trump's campaign through his America PAC, turning out voters and amplifying the MAGA message on his social media platform, X. Trump, in turn, elevated Musk to a role unprecedented in its scope, co-leader of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. A nod to Musk's beloved internet meme and a symbol of their shared mission to slash federal spending and remake the government in their image, for months, the duo was inseparable. Musk, often seen in the Lincoln bedroom or pacing the West Wing, was dubbed First Buddy by the press, a title he embraced with a wry smile. Trump, ever the showman, reveled in the spectacle of their alliance, parading Musk at events and touting his genius. Together, they vowed to dismantle the deep state, cut trillions in government waste and propel America into a new era of prosperity and innovation. Their vision was bold, a leaner, meaner government, a thriving economy fueled by deregulation, and a flag planted on Mars as a testament to American greatness, but beneath the surface, cracks were forming. Two titans, each accustomed to commanding the spotlight, could not coexist forever. By June 2025, their alliance would implode in a public feud that captivated the nation, exposing their clashing egos, divergent visions, and the fragility of their shared dream. This is the story of their fallout, a saga of policy disputes, personal betrayals, and a battle for America's soul. Chapter 1, The Seeds of Discord. The first signs of trouble emerged in late May 2025, as Congress debated Trump's signature legislative achievement, the One Big Beautiful Bill. The bill, a sprawling 1,000-page behemoth, promised the largest tax cuts in history, massive investments in border security, and sweeping changes to Medicaid that would strip health insurance from millions. Trump hailed it as a record cut in expenses and a path to make America great again. But for Musk, who had spent months slashing federal agencies at DOGE, the bill was a betrayal. Musk's tenure at DOGE had been nothing short of revolutionary. With his characteristic, move fast and break things, ethos, he had sacked thousands of federal employees, gutted entire departments like the U.S. Agency for International Development, and claimed savings of $180 billion, though critics disputed the figure, arguing it fell far short of his $2 trillion goal. Musk saw himself as a fiscal crusader, wielding data and AI to root out waste and inefficiency. To him, the One Big Beautiful Bill was a disgusting abomination, a bloated piece of legislation that added $2.4 trillion to the national debt over a decade, according to the Congressional Budget Office. Worse, it eliminated tax credits for electric vehicles, a direct blow to Tesla, Musk's flagship company. On May 30, 2025, Musk aired his grievances publicly. In a CBS Sunday Morning interview, he lamented that the bill increases the budget deficit, not decreases it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing. His words were measured but pointed, a rare public critique of Trump's agenda. Trump, speaking to reporters in the Oval Office alongside German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, brushed off the criticism with a forced smile. "I'm not happy about certain aspects of the bill," he said, but added, "Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here." All of a sudden he had a problem. Behind closed doors, the tension was palpable. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, a longtime Trump loyalist, had grown weary of Musk's outsized influence. Musk's clashes with cabinet members, including a physical altercation with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent over an IRS commissioner nomination, had alienated key allies. Whispers circulated that Musk's relentless push for cuts was destabilizing the administration's broader agenda. When Trump withdrew the nomination of Jared Isaacman, a Musk ally, for a key space policy role after learning of Isaacman's Democratic donations, Musk felt personally betrayed. The stage was set for a confrontation. Chapter 2, The Social Media Showdown. On June 5, 2025, the simmering tension boiled over into a public spectacle. It began with a seemingly innocuous press conference in the Oval Office, where Trump, flanked by Chancellor Merz, was asked about Musk's criticism. "Elon and I had a great relationship," Trump said, his use of the past tense raising eyebrows. "I don't know if we will anymore. He's upset because we took the EV mandate, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles, and they're having a hard time with electric vehicles." Musk, monitoring the news from his Tesla office in Austin, took the jab personally. Within minutes, he fired off a post on X, "Such an obvious lie. So sad." He denied that his opposition stemmed from the EV subsidy cuts, insisting his concern was the bill's "mountain of disgusting pork" and its threat to America's fiscal health. Keep the EV/solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched, very unfair. But ditch the mountain of disgusting pork, he wrote, rallying his 220 million followers to call their representatives and oppose the bill. Trump, never one to back down, escalated the feud. On Truth Social, he posted, "Elon was wearing thin, I asked him to leave, I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy." Musk shot back on X, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Such ingratitude." The claim was audacious but not baseless. Musk's America PAC had bankrolled much of Trump's ground game, and his ownership of X had amplified pro-Trump messaging to millions. As the day wore on, the feud grew uglier. Musk dropped what he called a "really big bomb," alleging without evidence that Trump's name appeared in unreleased government documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced financier and sex offender. Time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Musk wrote, retweeting a grainy video of Trump partying with Epstein in the 1990s. The post garnered 132 million views, igniting a firestorm of speculation. Trump, furious, responded on Truth Social, "The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it." The threat was a direct shot at Musk's empire, particularly SpaceX, which relied on $15 billion in NASA contracts to ferry astronauts and supplies to the International Space Station. Musk, undeterred, doubled down, endorsing a post calling for Trump's impeachment and replacement by Vice President J.D. Vance. He also announced plans to decommission SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft, a move that would strand American astronauts and jeopardize national security. The markets reacted swiftly. Tesla's stock plummeted 14%, wiping $150 billion from its market value. Musk's personal fortune, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, dropped by $34 billion in a single day. Trump's own Trump Media shares also took a hit, reflecting the economic ripple effects of their clash. Social media erupted with memes comparing the feud to a high school breakup or a rap battle, with one ex-user quipping, "It's like Kendrick versus Drake but with two Drakes." Chapter 3, Leadership Styles. In contrast, the feud laid bare the stark differences in Trump and Musk's leadership styles, each a reflection of their personalities and worldviews. Trump, the consummate showman, led with charisma and instinct. His leadership was rooted in loyalty and spectacle, a blend of reality TV bravado and political theater. He thrived on personal relationships, rewarding allies with praise and punishing critics with public attacks. His vision for America was nostalgic, centered on restoring a perceived golden age through tax cuts, deregulation, and a muscular foreign policy. The One Big Beautiful Bill, with its massive tax breaks and border security investments, embodied this vision. A bold, if controversial, plan to reshape the economy. Musk, by contrast, was a data-driven disruptor, a self-styled visionary who saw himself as humanity's savior. His leadership was chaotic, relentless, and often abrasive, characterized by 80-hour workweeks and a willingness to fire anyone who stood in his way. At Doge, he had slashed bureaucracy with the zeal of a tech founder, using AI to identify inefficiencies and demanding results at breakneck speed. His vision for America was futuristic, a nation of self-driving cars, space exploration, and AI-driven prosperity. The national debt, he argued, was an existential threat that required radical action, not political compromises like Trump's bill. Their influence was equally formidable but distinct. Trump's power stemmed from his political base, a loyal coalition of voters who saw him as a champion against the establishment. His mastery of truth social and traditional media allowed him to shape narratives and mobilize millions. Musk, meanwhile, wielded influence through wealth and technology. His ownership of X gave him a direct line to 220 million followers, while his companies, Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, were integral to America's economy and national security. When Musk threatened to decommission the Dragon spacecraft, he underscored his leverage. The U.S. depended on him in ways it never depended on Trump, yet their egos were their Achilles' heels. Trump, unable to tolerate criticism, saw Musk's attacks as a personal betrayal, especially after the billionaire's financial support. Musk, equally thin-skinned, viewed Trump's threats to his contracts as an affront to his genius. Their feud was not just about policy, it was a clash of two men who believed they alone could save America. Chapter 4. The Epstein Files and the Point of No Return. Musk's Epstein allegation was the feud's tipping point. The claim, made without evidence, was a calculated escalation, tapping into a long-standing conspiracy theory about Trump's ties to the disgraced financier. Flight logs from Epstein's private plane, released in 2021 during Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, showed Trump had flown on it 7 times, though no evidence linked him to Epstein's crimes. Musk's own connection to Epstein, a 2014 photo with Maxwell at a party, undermined his moral high ground, but the accusation landed like a grenade. Democrats seized the opportunity. Representative Dan Goldman of New York, who had called for the release of the Epstein files a month earlier, posted on X, "I called for the full release of the Epstein files a month ago because of my suspicion that Attorney General Pam Bondi was concealing the files to protect Donald Trump. Now my suspicion has been confirmed." The White House, through Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, dismissed Musk's claim as an unfortunate episode from Elon, who is unhappy with the One Big Beautiful Bill because it does not include the policies he wanted. Trump, in a rare move, shared a statement from Epstein's former attorney, David Schoen, asserting that Epstein had no information to hurt President Trump. The Epstein controversy galvanized both sides. Trump's allies, including Steve Bannon, rallied to his defense. Bannon, on his podcast, called Musk's comments outrageous and suggested seizing control of SpaceX and investigating Musk's citizenship, a jab at the South Africa-born billionaire's naturalized U.S. status. Musk fired back, calling Bannon a criminal and doubling down on his threat to decommission the Dragon spacecraft. The move was a bluff. He later rescinded it after backlash on X, but it underscored the stakes. SpaceX's role in NASA's missions was non-negotiable, and Musk knew it. The public was transfixed. X overflowed with reactions, from memes comparing the feud to a reality TV showdown to serious debates about the Epstein files. One user, TerraBull808, summed up the sentiment. Musk responds on X, claiming Trump wouldn't have won without his support and accusing him of lying about the bill's transparency. He went on to say Trump appears in Jeffrey Epstein files, and that's why they hadn't been released. Another, 589 Bull 10,000, speculated that the feud was a controlled explosion to force the release of the files, a theory that gained traction among conspiracy-minded followers. Chapter 5, Visions for America. At its core, the feud was a battle over competing visions for America's future. Trump's vision was rooted in economic nationalism and cultural conservatism. His One Big Beautiful Bill aimed to slash taxes for the wealthy, bolster border security, and reduce government spending, though critics argued it did the opposite by ballooning the deficit. Trump saw himself as a populist hero, restoring America's greatness through strength and deal-making. His supporters, like GOP Representative Tim Burchett, backed him unequivocally. "I'm on President Trump's side. He's our commander-in-chief," Burchett told CNN. "America is more worried about paying more taxes right now if we don't pass the big, beautiful bill." Musk's vision was technocratic and libertarian. He envisioned a streamlined government, free from bureaucratic bloat, where innovation drove progress. His work at DOGE, though controversial, reflected this ethos: mass layoffs, data-driven cuts, and a disdain for political compromise. On X, he railed against the bill's Byzantine provisions, and warned that Trump's tariffs would cause a recession in the second half of this year. Musk's flirtation with starting an America Party signaled his frustration with both parties, a centrist fantasy that belied his recent right-wing leanings. Chapter 6, The Fallout and the Future. By June 11, 2025, the feud showed signs of cooling. Musk deleted his Epstein post and softened his tone, agreeing with a post by billionaire Bill Ackman urging peace for the benefit of our great country. Trump, however, remained defiant. In an interview with NBC's Kristen Welker, he warned Musk of serious consequences if he funded Democrats and dismissed reconciliation efforts, saying, "You mean the man who has lost his mind?" The White House, through Susie Wiles, confirmed no call was scheduled between the two. That the economic and political fallout was significant. Tesla's stock rebounded slightly, up 3.7% on June 6, but remained down 20% for the year. SpaceX's contracts, critical to NASA, hung in the balance, though Trump's threats were likely bluster, canceling them would cripple U.S. space ambitions. The One Big Beautiful Bill faced a tougher path in the Senate, with Musk's criticism emboldening fiscal conservatives. House Speaker Mike Johnson, defending the bill, insisted it included the largest mandatory spending cut in history, but Musk's influence gave cover to dissenters. The feud also raised questions about power and accountability. Trump's willingness to weaponize federal contracts against Musk echoed accusations of authoritarianism. As noted by the New York Times, he looks at the government as his personal instrument for dispensing favors to friends and penalizing those who cross him. Musk's threats to decommission the Dragon spacecraft, meanwhile, highlighted the risks of privatizing critical infrastructure. The Guardian warned that the fight between Trump and Musk once again exposed the danger of putting key public goods in the hands of private companies controlled by erratic billionaires. As July 4, 2025, approached, the feud reignited. Musk resumed his attacks, threatening to form the America Party if the bill passed. Trump responded by vowing to use Doge. Ironic, given Musk's role in creating it, to target his subsidies. The public, weary of the spectacle, began to tune out, but the stakes remained high. The outcome of the bill, the future of Musk's contracts, and the Republican Party's direction hung in the balance. Epilogue: A house divided. The Trump-Musk feud was more than a clash of egos, it was a microcosm of America's fractured soul. Trump, the populist warrior, and Musk, the technocratic visionary, embodied competing impulses: nostalgia versus innovation, loyalty versus disruption. Their fallout exposed the fragility of their alliance and the challenges of governing a nation divided by ideology, ambition, and power. In the end, their visions for America, Trump's MAGA revival and Musk's techno-libertarian utopia, proved incompatible. As the nation watched, two men who had promised to remake the world turned their megaphones on each other, leaving a trail of broken promises and unanswered questions. Would they reconcile, or would their feud reshape the political landscape? Only time would tell. But for now, America stood at a crossroads, caught between the past and the future, with no clear path forward.